Hey everybody, this is TotalGamerJunkie. I want to welcome you all back to my channel. So in this video, I was actually planning to do this a few days ago, but I decided to do it once it was released on Kickstarter. So I found this out. It's an avatar role-playing game. Now, before you ask, no, it's not like a game you play on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC. It's a tabletop game. And I read through a bit of it before Kickstarter launched because they had a sneak peek just to inform you what it's about. I actually knew about this a while ago, but it did interest me, so I was keeping tabs on it. So I thought I'd let all of you know, because I'm not the biggest tabletop guy, but even I would play this with a few friends if I ever got the game. So the Kickstarter is still going on. They've got 26 days to go, and they've already got tons of money, so this is definitely gonna get funded. So I thought I'd just cover it all, just give my thoughts, and all of you Avatar fans, because when I did the Avatar Legend of Genji's video, a lot of you enjoyed that, even though there were some bits that I screwed up, but I'm pretty sure the comics, it's not out yet, but I'm pretty sure there's more information that I should cover. But I'm not here to talk about that, I'm here to talk about this tabletop. So, Magpie Games is excited to bring you Avatar Legends, the role-playing game. The officially licensed tabletop role-playing game set in the world of Avatar, The Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra. With over a decade of role-playing design and publishing expertise, Magpie Games has created an innovative system that brings the world of the Four Nations to life in a tabletop role-playing game that captures the heart of the Avatar franchise: balance, heroism, and the power of friendship. Now, before I continue, I should state that what sucks is, because I thought you can play, there are different timelines you can play in this. So, Avatar Kyoshi's timeline, Aang's timeline, and Korra's timeline. And I thought you would play as the Avatar in each timeline. But that's not what happens. You actually create your own character who's not an Avatar, who's just comes from the water, earth, fire, air nation, which was a little disappointing, but the game still interests me, so I'm still interested in it. But I just thought I'd let you all know now before continuing. Avatar Legends, the RPG, includes setting information seeded with plot books for your game, numerous playbooks representing the archetypes of heroes fans love from the television shows, a full set of custom mechanics for adventuring across the Four Nations, an adventure to get you started on your journey, and much more. Delve into the Four Nations like never before in an immersive role-play experience that challenges you to find balance in a world in desperate need of heroes. Yip yip, which is what Aang says to get up and moving. So yeah, you can actually, this is what I had a look at, download the Quick Start. I'm pretty sure on Kickstarter here, I'll leave a link in the description below, but you can just click on it and you should be able to download it. Just goes over the rules of the game and character creation and whatnot. So what is Avatar Legends, the role-playing game? Avatar Legends, the RPG, is a heroic fantasy game set in the universe of Avatar, The Last Airbender, and The Legend of Korra, in which you and your friends take on the role of young heroes from across the Four Nations who have joined together to make the world a better place. It's a game for people of all ages who want to look at the world beyond the scope of the existing stories and explore the meaningful actions heroes take for the good of others. Above all, however, it's a game about balance. The hero fights for balance in the world, but also wrestles with maintaining balance within while trying to achieve the goals they've set for themselves. The villains of Avatar Legends, the RPG, are never simply monsters, never mere antagonists who must be struck down by blasts of fire. They are instead people with their own desires, personal struggles, and goals, no matter how misguided. Thus, achieving true balance isn't easy. Whether you play a bender, martial artist, merchant, or craftsperson, you are constantly being pulled between two important principles in your life as you face problems in the world. If you delve too deeply into one or the other, forgiveness over action, force over care, tradition over progress, it throws you off balance, and you must work to regain your composure and sense of self. Luckily, you are not alone in this journey. Together with your fellow heroes, you'll soar on the backs of flying bison, defeat devious foes, and discover the true meaning of balance, perhaps even help to save the world. That's pretty interesting. So the game forces you, even though you're not the Avatar, the game's forcing you to, okay, you don't want to go too much over to one side. It's like, if you've ever played the game Splinter Cell Double Agent, in that, it's one of my favorites. Like, it's in the top 3 because I liked how unique it was. In it, what happens is you go on, as Sam Fisher, you go undercover in this terrorist organization, and there's a little sliding bar, and it shows the factions. On the right is I forget what it's been ages since I played it, but basically the terrorist organization is on one side, and the good people, which is like the NSA or whoever it is on the other side. So good guys on the left, bad guys on the right, or the other way. And if you let the scale slide too much in one direction, it's game over. So, like, I'm not saying that's what this system is going to be, but it reminds me of that. And so, I think this is good, like, because unless I'm misunderstanding it, because balance, I think balance is also a kind of stat, you know? So, if you do become more, if you have more forgiveness than action points, then your forgiveness unlocks like different choices in the tabletop, maybe? I don't know. But anyway, moving on, the heroes. In Avatar Legends, the RPG, you play one of the many heroes of the Four Nations, or perhaps Republic City, or the Fire Nation colonies. A young hero who has sworn to protect the world from harmful threats and stand up for those without the power to stand up for themselves. You fight on the side of what is right, even if that is the most difficult path to take, and you understand that to achieve peace, there must be balance. No matter what type of character you decide to play, a bender, a martial artist, or technological savant, your character is integral to the story you're playing. Each character has strengths that complement the others. Everyone has something valuable to add each session. For example, you might play a waterbender from the northern water tribe who seeks to protect an ancient secret, an earthbender from Ba Sing Se who wishes to solve further mysteries of the Avatar, an airbender from the Eastern Temple who is searching for her long-lost brother, a firebender from the colonies who is trying to heal the wounds of war, a swordsman from the Southern Water Tribe who wants to travel the world, a technologist from Republic City who swore to never again allow a tyrant to take power. Honestly, I might be a swordsman because I really liked I think it was book 3 when Sokka was learning how to use a sword, and he had his sword made from a crushed meteorite. That was pretty cool. Just as Aang, Katara, Toph, and Sokka brought something different to Team Avatar, each of your characters will bring different strengths and stories to your team, as your adventures take you all over the world in search of justice and balance. Now you see, this is what I like, so you can't just go by yourself, go solo. You need a team, you need people to back you up, because you may be like an earthbender, you may have great stats, but what if in the game you're fighting these other people, and you're fighting people who, like, just say, so as I said, you're an earthbender, what if you're fighting a fire, water, and airbender? And like, how are you going to handle them all at once? Like, if it was an earthbender like yourself, maybe, but it really depends on like how skilled your character is. Okay, so here we go. These this is what I was mentioning before, the eras that you can play in. So each game of Avatar Legends, the RPG, begins with your group picking an era as the backdrop for your game. Each era is tied to the span of an Avatar's life, except for the 100-Year War era, during which Avatar Aang was frozen, and focuses on distinct themes which define your game. The full core book chronicles these eras more deeply, but here's a quick list that describes the rough focus and details of each era. Kyoshi's era covers the events right after the Shadow of Kyoshi novel. I've got to read that novel. I've heard really good things about it. I just haven't had the time. Oh, sorry. As the young Avatar Kyoshi came into her own as a dominant force of change. Playing Kyoshi's era if you want to fight in brutal battles against rogues and bandits and deal with governmental corruption as the nations defend and reinforce their borders. Roku's era covers the time a few years after Fire Lord Sozin came to power, a period in which Avatar Roku worked tirelessly to maintain the peace between the four nations. Play in Roku's era if you want to deal with tensions that arise from competing powers amidst an era of cultural redefinition and that nationalist expansion. The 100-Year War era focuses on the time just a few years before Avatar Aang's awakening at the beginning of Avatar The Last Airbender. Play in the 100-Year War era if you want to rebel against unjust rule, protect the weak, and stand up to tyranny. Aang's era is set immediately after the events of the Imbalance comic trilogy, a couple of years after the end of Avatar The Last Airbender. I think I've read that book series on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I think yeah. Play in Aang's era if you want to heal the world after tragedy and help push it into a brighter future. Korra's era covers a period that takes place after the events of the Ruins of the Empire comic trilogy, which I've also read, months after the end of Legend of Korra. Play in Korra's era if you want to deal with the repercussions of imperialism and play in the modernized era. The Avatar Legends, the RPG core book, includes a setting chapter with 50 plus pages of information about the eras, including important characters and plot hooks for each. In addition to never before released canon material on Avatar Roku's Avatar Roku's era. The setting chapter provides enough material for anyone to pick up and play the game, even if you don't know the original stories by heart. Because I don't know, I've watched The Legend of Aang, I've watched The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra years ago, so my memory's a bit hazy on these events, but honestly, for all you hardcore fans, I'd definitely check this out when you have the time. Because, honestly, for people who write fanfics online, I bet you people would love this, because you're basically making your own fanfiction in this tabletop game, creating your own character and going on these adventures. Yes, that seems right up your alley. So, adventures. The life of an Avatar Legends hero is never easy. There's always someone who needs to be smuggled out of Republic City, a stolen artifact that must be recovered from the Southern Water Tribe, or a new warlord terrorizing the good people of the Earth Kingdom. Every adventure is a new story waiting to happen, and the stories of Avatar Legends, the RPG, needs heroes just like you. But most problems you'll encounter in the Four Nations can't be fixed by a simple fight. The Avatarverse and the people who live there are too complex for that. You might have to investigate the problem, speak to people about their needs, and strive to understand the nuances of the situation at hand. Embracing the diversity of the Four Nations and learning to accept others who may not share your worldviews are all part of the heroism central to the game. So that'd be interesting. So if you're part of the Water Nation and you meet someone who's part of the Air Nation, you might not share the same views, but you could still be allies. That's interesting, because I like it when in shows and games, when you have characters that can get along but have different points of view. You know what I mean? I just don't like it if everyone agrees with your character. That's why I like gameplay. Mass Effect, Dragon Age, because games like that, where Baldur's Gate, that's a good series too. Greedfall, the recent one, that's great. Just when you have all these companions with you and they won't agree with everything you do, and I prefer that to them being a bunch of yes men. You know, just yes, I agree with you, let's go and do this. Sorry, I just lost where I was. Here we go. But if it does come down to a fight when you've tried every possibility and the villain you're facing refuses to let go of their tyrannical ways, you'll be ready. Armed with a custom mech suit you've built, a skillfully forged spear, or powerful firebending, your heroes will utilize their training to win the day. And if you don't win, then you and your friends will have to pull yourselves together, recover from your defeat, learn new skills and techniques, and come back stronger than you were before. So here we get to the rules, mechanics. Avatar Legends, the RPG, uses the Powered by the Apocalypse framework, made famous by Monsters of the Week, Masks, A New Generation, and Root, the RPG, which I've never heard of, to resolve interesting movements of uncertainty through moves, bits of mechanics that say, when you do X, Y happens. Each move trigger the when you do X part is designed to help point at moments of uncertainty whether neither the players nor the GM know exactly what happens next. Some examples of such movements include when you bend a jet of water at a Fire Nation guard who is about to strike your friend, when you try to negotiate your way into an elite masquerade ball in the capital city, when you're hiding from corrupt Dai Li agents in a Ba Sing Se tea house, when you're accompanying a companion who failed to live up to their mentor's demands. I mean, those Dai Li agents freaked me out when I was a kid when I was watching Avatar. I don't know what it was. Maybe I don't know why, but I'm fine with it now. But this is a kid thing. It's terrible. So stats and moves. When you trigger a move, when you perform the action described in the move's trigger, then the rest of the mechanics kick into effect, often requiring a die roll. You'll roll 2d6, two six-sided dice, and add in one of the stats to find out what happened. So obviously this, if you do decide to get this, it's going to come with all the necessary stuff that you need to play the game. It's not like you have to go out and buy the dice required, because that'd be stupid. Every playbook has 4 stats. Creativity. Creativity measures your ability to think quick and unconventionally to come up with surprising plans or breathtaking art. Avatar Aang, Satoru, and Asami Sato all have strong creativity. Focus. Focus measures your character's ability to perform difficult or precise tasks under pressure, to shut out distractions and work in a patient, disciplined, or stubborn manner. Rangi, Princess Azula, and Tenzin all have strong focus. Harmony. Harmony measures your character's social sensitivity, care, and empathy, their ability to take into account the views and feelings of others and act in an honest and compassionate way. Kelsang, Uncle Iroh, and Katara all have strong harmony. Passion measures the intensity of your character's emotions and drive, and how good they are at listening to their feelings and turning them into decisive action. Avatar Korra, Prince Zuko, and Avatar Korra all have strong passion. Each stat is ranked from -3 to +3 to add. You add your stat to some rolls when you trigger certain moves. For example, when you push your luck, you roll 2d6 plus passion. When you rely on your skills and training to firebend arm or create technological marvels, you roll 2d6 plus focus. On most moves, if you get a 10 or higher, 10 plus, things go your way. If you get a 7 minus 9, you get what you were after, but usually with some cost or complication. If you get a 6 or lower, that's called a miss, and the GM gets to tell you what happens next as things spiral out of control. Example. The GM says, you run from the Dai Li agent, sprinting ahead, but as you turn the corner of the alley, you see another agent blocking your escape. I let out a terrifying roar like the tiger seals back home and lunge at the agent, blocking my path, trying to scare her. You say, "Oh, you don't want to mess with a tiger seal." The GM laughs. You are trying to intimidate the agent, so you roll with passion. You'll roll 2d6 plus passion plus 2, and you get A5 and A2, which add up to 7. With your plus 2 passion, it's A9 minus A partial success. The GM has to pick off a list and chooses. They back down but keep watch. The GM says the Dai Li agent is startled and jumps out of the way, but you can see them giving directions to other agents who are still chasing you. What do you want to do now? That's interesting. So if you fail, then this Dai Li agent would still be after you, and if you succeeded, she may have backed off and had all the other agents back off too. Avatar Legends, the RPG, has moves for all the kinds of action-adventure featured on the shows, escaping, persuading, or tricking other characters, bending and more, along with special moves for fight scenes and your character's internal balance. And speaking of balance, in addition to the main stats, each player character also has a balance track that represents two opposing principles within the character, such as progress versus tradition or freedom versus role, that pull the character to act according to one or the other of those ideas. Thus, the action of the character shift that balance, leading the character to be pulled toward the very principle they are prioritized through their decisions. Each principle is linked such that progress plus 3 means you automatically have -3 tradition. And they got what were these fish called? The koi fish, the kai fish. I remember this was in when that guy he killed one of the fish, and then the princess had to become the new spirit. And I'm so sorry if I'm butchering this. I can picture the scene in my head, but I just can't remember the characters in that. But yeah, when the fish died, then waterbending, wasn't it? The moon spirit, and with the moon spirit dead, no one could waterbend. Was that it? The sky went red. And I remember Aang, he entered the Avatar state and became this moon spirit or something. He was just defeating the Fire Nation. That was a pretty cool scene. Okay, so your character begins. Your character begins the game in the middle of your balance track, meaning neither principle pulls you one way or the other. During the game, your balance shifts between the two principles as you act in accordance with them, or other people shift your balance by affirming how they see you. Eventually, these shifts can be dramatic enough to change your character's center, the default position the character would normally return to over time. Characters who are off balance are powerful, capable of swapping out their weaker stats in favor of stronger balanced stats when they follow through on a principle. For example, a character like Prince Zuko might roll with his progress +3- instead of his focus +1- when he faces Azula in an Agni Kai, since he's hoping to move the Fire Nation away from its genocidal past. But if you are all the way at one end of the balance track, and something would shift your balance past the end of the track, like Azula mocking Zuko in the way that pushes him away from tradition and towards progress, you lose your balance. Characters who lose their balance must give in, lash out, or flee, only returning later when they shift their center towards the principle they overcommitted to during the scene. Conditions and fatigue. Where your balance track represents the harmony of your personal beliefs, conditions and fatigue represent your mental and physical well-being. Heroes in Avatar Legends, the RPG, don't lose arguments or fight because they run out of hit points. The show only occasionally features a serious injury, but because they can't keep up with the opposition or get worn out by the effect required to stay in the fight. To represent the strong feelings and emotions of the show, each Avatar Legends, the RPG character, has 5 conditions: angry, afraid, foolish, guilty, and insecure. Conditions are negative emotional stats you mark when something bad happens, like getting knocked down in a fight or suffering a loss in a social conflict. When you have a condition marked, you take -2 to the basic move linked to the condition. If you're afraid, for example, you would take -2 when you try to intimidate an NPC. You can clear conditions by getting another PC to comfort and support you, or by acting out in accordance with the condition, like doing something reckless to clear foolish. In addition to conditions, each character also has a fatigue track that represents your character's internal reserves of willpower and energy. You'll mark fatigue when you try to get stuff done, like huge feats of bending, or in a combat when you attempt to strike at someone directly opposing you. Fatigue is cleared when your character has time to rest and recover. If your fatigue track is full and you are forced to mark another fatigue, you take a condition instead. Characters who have to mark a condition when they have no more conditions to mark are taken out, knocked unconscious, fleeing in fear, or just plain surrender. That's interesting. That's some of the other ones I don't understand, like the -+2. I do understand bits of it, but I'm not the biggest tabletop guy, so a lot of you probably know more about the rules than I do. So we've got bending and fighting. Every Avatar Legends, the RPG hero, is unique but someone who fights with a sword is just as valuable to the team as a person who can bend the earth to their will. And while benders summon amazing forces to accomplish great things, even the mightiest firebender can be felled with a zap from Asami's electric glove. When you create your character, you pick a training, one of the 4 elements: martial and weapons training or technological training. To further customize your skills, you pick a fighting style for your character, describing how that training manifests for your character. For example, you could use metal fans just like Kyoshi to focus your airbending, or always have small daggers to throw to pin people to the walls. Your training has 2 main uses in the game. It allows you to rely on your skills and training in key moments, pushing a boat over the waterbending pushing a boat over with waterbending, or stealing the most expensive sword with your martial training. And it determines which techniques are available for you to use in combat. While all characters have access to a core set of basic moves like strike and retaliate, your training allows you to use special techniques like earth, sync, lightning, redirection, or chi blocking. In order to learn new techniques for your training, however, you must find yourself a master to teach you. Tracking down a master is a great excuse for an adventure and will push your character to new heights as you seek out someone who can expand your skills and training. And once you've found someone, studied under them, and learned the technique, you can only master it by fulfilling a task your master sets out for you and discovering something new about yourself. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna, if I ever get this, I'm definitely just gonna be a swordsman. Don't need to be a bender, I just need to know how to use a sword. Not the swordsman. I can't believe Sokka lost his sword in book 3. That poor sword. Did he? I don't think he ever recovered it, did he? No, that was lost. I hope he gets it back one day. Okay, so Playbooks. Avatar Legends the RPG uses playbooks, the Idealist, the Hammer, etc. to help players create characters quickly and easily. Each playbook describes a character archetype, complete with motivations, ties to the rest of the group, and different abilities. Yet each playbook is also just a starting point. By the time you choose your background, fighting style, and history, you end up with a unique Avatar Legends character for your story. So here are a few of them here, so that's a lot. So we got Be Adamant. Will fix the world even if it means breaking all the rules. Play the Adamant if you want to contend with what doing right means in a complicated world. The Bold fights to live up to their self-image as well as others' belief in them. Play the Bold if you want to build your reputation and leadership skills. The Guardian defends someone close to them, steadfast and watchful. Play the Guardian if you want to be the first to see danger coming in the last line of defense. Play the Hammer if you want to grapple with what violence can and can't solve. So the Hammer is strong, tough, and looking for someone to punch who deserves it. Got that part. The Icon comes from an ancient tradition and has inherited some serious standards to live up to. Play the Icon if you want to be torn between your heart and your destiny. That sounds interesting. I might play the Icon actually. The Idealist past, full of suffering and tragedy, has strengthened their values. Play the Idealist if you want to awaken hope in everyone around you. The Pillar is an experienced team player and representative of an established group. Play the Pillar if you want to be a savvy tactician who binds the team together. The Prodigy not only excels at their training, but has taken it even beyond their master's teaching. Play the Prodigy, Play the Prodigy if you want to stretch the limits of your training and abilities. The Rogue is a rule breaker, a joker, a delinquent, a figure on the fringes who snipes at the people in charge. Who snipes at the people in charge. Play the Rogue if you like being a scoundrel with a heart of gold. The Successor comes from a lineage of powerful but scary power players. Play the Successor if you want to struggle against your lineage as it threatens to draw you in, and more to come. Now the icon and the successor, those sound pretty interesting to me, because I like when you have characters who have complicated backstories, you know. I just really want, I don't want to play like as a character who's fully good or fully evil, you know. Because I feel like if a character has a compelling backstory, then that's what makes them a good character. I also don't like characters who you know, can just do everything at once, you know. I prefer it if characters have to learn how to do stuff, you know, just aren't good at it off the playbook. Characters often acquire abilities and powers from other playbooks, and may even change playbooks over the course of play, such as a successor abandoning their family to become a guardian. As your character advances, you may also find reasons to retire your character and leave the show, giving you a chance to create a new character to continue your group's story. Okay, so you can choose to abandon the group or just decide to leave the show as it puts and create a new character. That sounds pretty interesting. But I don't know how that would affect the story, so would you have to create a new character from scratch and level up all over again? Or would you... I mean, I would assume so, because if you're creating a new character, you don't get the stats from your previous character. And you don't get them to carry over. Alright, so the player character in Avatar Legends, the RPG, are represented by the playbooks, but the heroes of the story might also run into a few old friends on their adventures. In Avatar Legends, the RPG characters like Avatar Aang, Uncle Iroh, and General Kuvira are called legends, powerful individuals who can act as beloved mentors or worthy opposition, depending on the situation at hand. The world of Avatar is complicated, and sometimes it is your greatest enemy who teaches you the lessons you need to learn, while your friends provide the most difficult and challenging opposition. So that's pretty cool. So you could end up what you believe is right and you believe what you're doing is good could put you on opposing sides of Aang or Korra or Kyoshi, Roku, or General Iroh. Okay, yeah, I loved Iroh's character. One of my favorite characters. So each legend has everything. Well, one of my favorite characters in Avatar. Because I have favorite characters, I don't say, okay, this is my top 10 characters, but no, my top 10 characters in the show or series. Each legend has everything you need to introduce the character to your game, including special techniques that legends may be willing to teach young heroes. We will unlock more legends through the stretch goals as the campaign goes on. So this right here is this just shows what you get with these cover books. So holographic, laminate, you can get Aang or Korra, excuse me. Digital rewards unlocked during the campaign, including new playbook and NPC legends, but these are digital rewards, so you're not going to get them in the book. So you can get new NPC, Sokka, Katara, Asumi, Kuvira, Azula, Tenzin, and others. And these are show you get a dice pack, deluxe dice pack, Four Nations cloth map, that looks pretty cool, combat action deck, deluxe dice bag, journal pack, which is just 30 blank pages to help you. So you could, I like how they got the water, earth, fire, or air books there, and so you could just, okay, if you're going to create a character who's a waterbender, just use the waterbending book. So adventure booklets, booklets full of helpful tools for running an adventure in one of the 5 eras. Adventure booklet, Earth and Root. Let's take a look at these. So you've been given the task of hunting down the notorious Daofei by the renowned firebender Rangi while she attends to her duties as companion to the Avatar. You must prove yourself by stopping this villain before Rangi returns from her latest travels. Adventure Book 2, Fire and Brimstone. On a visit to the Fire Nation capital, waterbending master Taku Kao, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, discover the hidden cache of stolen Earth Kingdom crates filled with meteorite material. While I can't say that, keeps up appearances during his visit, you must unearth the truth behind this suspicious theft. Adventure 3, Ash and Steel. You've been asked to provide security for a Fire Nation defector who's offering war plans stolen from Fire Lord Ozai's palace in exchange for asylum in Ba Sing Se. As the machinations of Grand Secretariat Long Fang unfold, you must decide who to trust in this web of lies. Adventure Book 4, Air and Wind. An archaeological expedition has discovered a cache of lost air nomad scrolls, but the corporation that funded the dig intends to seize the artifacts and exploit them. You must help the dig team reach the safety of Toph's Metal Bending Academy before it's too late. Adventure Book 5, Water and Mist. President Zhu Li Moon's husband, Varric, has gone missing after attending a pro-bending match. While Zhu Li grapples with politics that keep the Republic City Police tied up, you are put on the case. So then these are just the tier pledges that you can pledge to. Sky Bison. Oh, that cabbage one. Oh, I remember it. Sadly, we don't get to see him as much, but I thought he was a pretty interesting character. Like, you know, when you have those characters, but they play very short roles, but they're memorable, or at least he's memorable to me. So we are offering the $75 Otter Penguin, $100 Polar Bear Dog, and $200 Flying Bison as additional tier add-ons if you'd like to receive multiple copies of the pledge levels. So yeah, and they've because if they don't reach their stretch goal, they can't fund this on Kickstarter, because in case any of you haven't used Kickstarter, there's a certain goal that must be reached. So if you pledge, say, $100, and Kickstarter doesn't reach the Kickstarter the people on Kickstarter who have put up their product, if they can't reach the goal, then you don't have to pay for it. So no NPC. So the fact that these are crossed off here means that they've already passed them. So if you want to pause the video and take a look. Okay, so 700, 800, 900, Suki, Journal. These are just a lot. So how much have they got? So that's like, that was the book there I saw. There's 900,000. So, because the fact that they've done this, I'm pretty sure that they've gotten to their tier, but these are just new stuff that they've offered in order, like, so okay, we reached the tier, we have this other stuff that you can unlock. So for example, you all the stuff that's crossed out is what the tier, what the tier has, the money has passed it, so you'll be able to get this Adventure Booklet 5 and new NPC Legend Kavira. But because it hasn't passed Ty Lee's tier, she won't be in the game. So that's pretty interesting, unless, here's the team, the people. I'll take a look at them, I don't know. What is the pledge? I just want to check this. The pledge is... Wait, so that's... Oh, and they've already... I guess they've already got it then. They just haven't marked it yet. So anyways, that's the end of this video. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll leave a link to this Kickstarter in the description below in case you want to check it out for yourself and back the project. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.